Hi, I'm Sean Walker from iTrain Hockey. Today we're going to be working on the shooting power video. Our main focus today is taking wrist and snapshots and increasing some speed behind every one of our shots. Today we're at the Trinity Bellwoods outdoor rink, so it's a nice beautiful day. A good day to work on some shots. Our main focus is to create a really long, loud, and quick sweep. So every one of our shots should sound like that. We want it to be really long. A lot of players are a little bit too quiet or a little bit too short. We want to be able to wind up into position 2, into our wind up position, flex our sticks, and continue to flex our stick through position 3 as we're taking the stride. We don't ever want to throw our shoulders away from our target, because that will decrease the amount of sweep that we have. We're sweeping and leaning towards our target. It looks like this. Okay, so for our second point to increase some power behind our shot is we always want to make sure that when we take our stride, when we shoot, it has to be a really, really powerful stride. So we have two options when we take our shots. As a lefty, I can lean on my left when I wind up and then follow through it off my right. That's a front leg shot. I would be putting as much weight as I can off my left and striding as strongly as I can off of my right. A lot of players might just do something like this when they take their shot and more or less just put one leg in front of the other. We want to take a really strong rip into the ice. Another option is you can take a back leg shot as a lefty. You'd put your weight on your right leg and then stride off your right leg onto your left, and then we'd have to really sink onto our left leg. So second point, really important, really strong stride into the shot. Okay, so our third point to increasing some speed behind our shot is going to be to build momentum. So we do that by skating in stride. Me taking a shot in a stationary position is always going to be pretty good and pretty powerful, but me in motion and in stride is going to be a lot more powerful. We can be in motion and just continue to glide towards the net and take our shots, or we can actually keep our legs moving. So we have it in stride, we wind up in this position and then take our shot. It's almost as if we didn't break our stride. So that's what that means, to go in stride and to help us build momentum behind our shots. That's going to be our third focus. Okay, so some common errors that I find behind players wanting to have a really, really strong shot is when they wind up, instead of winding up just quite short for quick release, they wind up quite long. So they think the further my wind up is going to be, the more power I'm going to generate. So right now, if you look, underneath my chin is my top hand, and it's not my bottom hand. The bottom hand is the one that's going to be able to generate all of that whip and that flex, so that we can prime our stick and add that extra whip behind our shot. So it's really important that with our wind-ups, we want them to be quite short. So if you notice, underneath my chin now is my bottom hand. All of that upper body strength that you have, like when you do push-ups, we can now push into our stick. And it'll allow us to utilize the $300 hockey stick that I've got. If it's too far out to the side again, or too far back, it's more or less, it's just like me trying to jump. If I was going to jump, I'd bend my knees to here and then lift off. I wouldn't have to bend my knees to here and then lift off. It was just taking us too far. Okay, so another common error that I always find is in our wind-up, a lot of players will bring their top hand and bring it almost into their hip. So right now, I can't actually flex my stick. When we flex our stick, we're always trying to flex our backhand side. If my hand sneaks in here, I can't actually flex it properly. So what we do instead is we try to pump our arm away, so that in the order from the net to the puck, top hand, then bottom hand, and and then back here is the puck. So now I can actually flex my stick properly. If this hand was too far in, I wouldn't be able to do it. A lot of players' wind-ups again are too far out to the side. Again, that wouldn't work. So in position 1, we've got a nice big window. In position 2, that window gets even bigger. It doesn't get smaller. So another point that I always find players need to be reminded of is in their wind-up, they try to almost turn their shoulder down. We want to try to keep our shoulders pretty level and pretty square. In position 1, chest up, knees bent, shoulders are pretty level. In position 2, even though I'm winding up and I want to be able to push down into my stick, it doesn't mean that I have to dip my left shoulder as a lefty in order to do that. It just means I can keep my chest up, keep my arms out, I can still flex my stick properly. We don't have to lean too far to that one side just to create a bigger, stronger wind-up. Okay, so another common error is we just want to make sure that our top hand snaps over really, really aggressively. It's called a wrist shot for a reason, and that's because what we do with this top wrist, snap that thing over. Once we snap that wrist over, our blade will rotate over, and it will help create a nice saucer effect with our shot. So when we shoot it, watch this wrist, watch how aggressively it snaps over. If we snap it over quite slow, it just won't be able to spin as fast as what we need it to. Really important point. Okay, and so our last common error that I always find is when players are taking their shot in position 4, our follow through, they would only go to about here. So they have that nice long loud sweep, but they stop it here. So we want to make sure that the very bottom of the tip of my stick is pointing all the way through. So that also includes a nice extension onto my leg. I wouldn't do this and sort of stop here. A nice long aggressive stride would mean to take my leg all the way to here, almost getting my hip as low as my knee. So it's a nice full stride. And at the same time, the stick points right to the target. Okay, so our 5 major teaching points that we want to focus on when we're taking a nice, strong, aggressive shot. When we wind up, we want to make sure that we've got a nice big window out. Underneath our chin is our bottom hand, so we can really flex our stick. When we flex our stick, it's a nice long, loud, quick sweep. We really strive from back leg onto front leg as aggressively as we can, and then through that sweep, it turns into a nice aggressive follow through. So I point directly right to my target, and I do that by snapping my wrist over really, really aggressively. Let's also make sure that when I wind up, I don't have to dip my shoulder to the side. We try to keep that shoulder up, flex our stick as long and as aggressively as we can, and then we point to our target, stick that follow through.